Alright, hey everybody, and welcome to the top 4 Group B of the Freecs Cup hosted by AfreecaTV. My name is Boulevard. Just going to give you a little bit of catch up here in case this is the first video that you're watching. So what's going on here is a bit of a modified format from what we see in North America and Europe. It is still a conquest region-locked format, however, instead of bringing 3 decks and banning 1, both players only brought 2 decks and there are no bans, so we get to see things like Karma Heimerdinger come out, like Vulture here is playing, J01 deciding that Jinx, no Draven. It's a little interesting because these players get to bring what they think are the strongest decks of the format. Don't have to worry about metagaming your regions and, you know, figuring out what your opponent's going to ban and things like that. Dude just going to bring the 2 strongest decks within regional limits, of course. And J01 going for this Jinx without Draven. Definitely not something we see in North America and Europe too often. Of course, Karmaheim, something that we see in a lot of lineups, but not necessarily something that gets to see a lot of action, is probably one of the most banned out decks. Did see it in the winning lineups of both players of Duels Runeterra 7. Did see it in the Group A top 4 match in action. Got a pretty swift win, so going to see how it deals with aggro, something that generally the Karmaheim has a bit of an issue dealing with. Not a lot of healing in the deck unless you're going for health potion, and Karma definitely not what you want to see, especially in the face of double decimate. No denies coming out for Vulture, a couple of protection spells, but it's going to be pretty hard to get those down mana efficiently. You have to assume the Chempunk's going to come down next turn as a blocker. Brothers Bond onto the 2 unblocked spiders. I feel like I got all of the housekeeping rules out of the way, and all of a sudden the game is already half over. Turn 4, 9 life for Vulture. Going to be a big battle to climb back through, especially since there are 2 Decimate and a Legion Grenadier in J01's hand, which does mean that unless Vulture can find some healing or a way to just never let this Grenadier die, then it will be J01 picking up game number 1. No Draven needed. The Boom Crew rookie even coming down will just be the Grenadier coming down alongside that. Playing perfectly on curve here is J01. And this slew of defensive spells from Vulture is not going to get it done. I think we're going to see the game end this turn. Haven't run the numbers on it. 7 mana does mean Will of Ionia and Get Excited can come down this turn. But once we get to attacks, the Boom Crew ability going to go on the stack and nothing for Vulture to do about that. Looks like it will be game number 1 going over to J01 very quickly, if not this turn, certainly the next, as there is no deny or anything. Elixir of Brilliance, of course, being changed so that it only gets 6 mana spells, does mean no deny can come out of that. No health potion either. Just lining up the blocks, of course, Vulture not aware of what is in their opponent's hand. Looks like the game might not end this turn if you go for the Get Excited onto the Spider and Will of Ionia onto the Legion Grenadier. This play theoretically makes more sense. You know, you get the buff off of the Spider, the Grenadier dies, you decide you're not going to be able to live through that anyway, so it's going to be Vulture going down to 7, 5, 4. I believe 4 life, which means the Decimate will end the game here right on the money. 4 to 20, perfect amount of life totals, and Decimate ending the game in a super quick fashion here. Game number 1 going to J01 here in the top 4. Alright, welcome to game number 2 here. That's right, game number 1 already over. If you blinked, you missed it. J01 winning in record time with an on-curve Decimate with a Jinx aggro deck. And now we see Vulture switching off to what I believe is a more traditional War Mother's Call control than the one that we've been seeing, I believe, in Europe and NA. Haven't gotten a chance to check out the Jamfest results yet, but in Duels of Runeterra 7, at least, the weekly tournament from last week that I kind of get all my results from, the only War Mother's deck we saw in top 8, I believe, was a Yeti deck trying to take advantage of the Trifarian Assessor change. Now, it looks like J01 sticking with the aggressive strategy, going for a traditional elusive deck. Now, Karmaheim should be fine into elusives. It's been a while since I've played the matchup, certainly not since Elixir of Brilliance was nerfed. I know back then Karmaheim generally considered to have a good elusive matchup, thanks to all of the nonsense that you can do with Elixir into Elixir. It might have changed a little bit now. It was kind of a tight matchup anyway, so don't hate Vulture for switching off into this different deck. And Omen Hawk picked up. Yep, definitely just standard Kinku elusives as far as I can tell. Omen Hawk and Elixir of Iron, the two Freljord cards that you see in the deck. And then Kinku Wayfinders to turn on the Ionian Allegiance. Would like to see this Avalanche here pre-combat. Really only worried about double Elixir of Iron. Not sure what one drop your opponent could be throwing down that you're worried about. Probably, I mean, obviously it's like Navori Blade Scout. It's not unreasonable for J01 to just attack here. The Omen Hawk wouldn't get any value thanks to this Averrosan Watcher. I'm expecting an open, or not an open attack rather, but just an attack from J01 here. Is going to go for the Omen Hawk instead, it looks like. And the patience from Vulture actually going to pay off, getting the full Avalanche value. Of course, will still eat 4 damage. I would assume that this Elixir is coming down onto the Greenglade duo. But J01 already pretty low on cards. Does have the Shadow Assassin for a little bit of refuel. But Vulture not as threatened as he was, especially going into the turns where he wants to start ramping. No play but to get down the Wording Stone. Double Catalyst in hand and the Soul Gorger. Could just start to get a pretty big healing train going. We'll have 6 mana on this turn. Could get the Soul Gorger down. And another Avalanche pickup is actually pretty good. The Navori Blade Scout coming down now. That's another 8 damage being threatened on the side of J01. And now the Deny in hand along with another Elixir. This Avalanche almost certainly not going to get any value this time around. No great targets for the Jeweled Protectors, especially since there is a couple of Wording Stones to block that out pretty indefinitely. Of course, it only is going to take one more elusive to end the game. Torn between this Avalanche, the Soul Gorger, and the Catalyst. Soul Gorger, definitely the play that I like most. Would be very unfortunate if J01 had a Will of Ionia here, but not going to be the case. And Anivia could even come down this turn. Help clear out this Greenglade duo. Not going to be the case. Just going to be an open attack from the Soul Gorger. Probably going to go for the Avalanche this turn then, if not the Anivia. Clean out the two health units from J01 as well as the 1 health Greenglade duo. That's going to be the Jeweled Protector coming down, buffing up the other Jeweled Protector. The double Deny Elixir of Iron looks like it is actually going to do a lot here. Still Deny mana, which means the Avalanche not going to get value. Is going to be the Averrosan Watchman, which means the Catalyst going to come down instead of the Wording Stone. Definitely don't hate that, getting the healing down while you can. Nope, will be the Wording Stone. Once another blocker for that Jeweled Protector. And of course, no other elusives in the hand of J01 does mean Vulture's life total is actually going to be pretty safe for the time being. Jeweled Protector down onto the Navori Blade Scout. Will still leave Deny mana though. But there is enough mana on the side of Vulture that he might be able to get one of these spells off. We'll probably go for the Avalanche once the Blade Scout comes down. And then has the option to go for the Withering Wail in combat to clean out this Greenglade duo. So that will actually leave J01 with only 1 elusive once it's all said and done. Of course, that is assuming that the Deny comes down to the Avalanche. Looks like J01 deciding whether or not he wants to play this Blade Scout here. It does threaten lethal, as it is a 5-attack Blade Scout that will pump the duo up to 4, the Assassin at 2. So I definitely like going for it, since it does leave you with Deny mana. Looks like we were actually on Vulture's priority sequence, that's my mistake. Not gonna go for the Blade Scout, okay. Nope, might go for the Blade Scout. It's so easy to get baited when casting Runeterra games because your opponent, or the players rather, can kind of go into combat and then just take it back and say, never mind. It looks like it will be coming down. I definitely like this play a little bit more. You have the Deny backup. You might as well try and get out the lethal. There's a couple of things that your opponent can have to stop it, but if it's only one thing, then you can get through it. The only thing this takes you off of is Elixir Deny, which doesn't play around a whole lot. I would like to see the Avalanche from Vulture here. Is a little scary though, as it does mean he would have to use one of his wording stones as a blocker. Of course, we know the Avalanche not going to work out. The Withering Wail likely to come down. Actually, if Vulture goes for... So Vulture lines up blocks with the Avarosan Watchman and one of the wording stones, and then plays Catalyst. He'll still get into an Enlightenment turn next turn, which means he can get down the Anivia, start really cleaning up this board. And the Catalyst also protects his life total, as he'll go up to 14, take 11, go down to 3. Definitely playing a dangerous game, but getting the Anivia down to start cleaning out these elusives. Because you do need something to deal with this Shadow Assassin, and Withering Wail not going to get that done. Yeah, it makes sense to attack with the Jeweled Protectors as well. Would definitely like to see, as I said, the Marksman and one of the Wording Stones, followed by a Catalyst. Soul Gorger does let you get down Anivia this turn. Helps to play around Will of Ionia. Sorry, not the case, as the attacks were lined up so that the Soul Gorger lifesteal wouldn't go off until afterwards, so that makes a bit more sense. Withering Wail to protect the life total, don't necessarily hate that either. Gonna be the same life total leaving himself at as he did just rearrange the attacks, or the blocks rather. Alright, Vulture, not going to live the risky life, going to instead play it safe and go for the Withering Wail while J01 is tapped out. That Elixir of Iron looking less and less useful, and now there are 3 non-elusive units on the side of J01. The only thing that has to get cleaned up is that Shadow Assassin. That's actually going to be pretty easy thanks to this Anivia. Would not be surprised at all to see the Anivia ability get denied here. Does open up Vulture for a lot more thanks to this Withering Wail, and Vulture actually seeming to stabilize pretty well here in this game number 2. J01 just not finding great Jeweled Protector targets, hitting a non-elusive and then a semi-elusive unit. And it looks like that's going to be playing against him a lot harsher than you would usually expect it to. Vulture managing to get to the Enlightenment turn, even without playing the 2 Catalysts, does get to hold those in reserve. Looks like it will just be the Elixir onto the Shadow Assassin, going to hold on to the Deny. Definitely don't hate that. However, now that we have seen the Enlightenment turn, Anivia already dealing the 2 damage, and as we creep closer and closer, these Wording Stones get less and less useful. I think I'd like the Vile Feast more than the Withering Wail, yet definitely like that one a lot more, and I don't know if J01 can feasibly deny that. I feel like they have to, but nope, not going to go for it. Says that's not important. Gets down to Kinku Lifeblade, so still 1/2/2 elusive on the side of J01. Going to be able to push through damage. Another Withering Wail picked up, and the Jeweled Protector, no targets in hand for J01, makes that one of the worst top decks they could possibly find at the moment. And will just be the Kinku Lifeblade attack. Tryndamere going to come down now. Vulture heavily on the aggressive. Not going to go for the Withering Wail at the end of turn either. Atrocity picked up. Vulture. And there's nothing that can block out this Tryndamere unless Deny comes down onto the Anivia ability. And the blocks lining up like this make me think that we will see the Deny on the Anivia. This doesn't... It feels really bad too, but I don't think you can just let your board... Nope, gonna let it happen. Which means J01 going to fall down to, I believe it looked like 8 life. So we could see the Atrocity come out onto the Tryndamere here. Kinku Wayfinder finally going to come down, hit the 2 Omen Hawk, buffing up the units on top of the deck. Will just be the Naked Catalyst gaining the 3 life. Not going to go for the second Catalyst, saying just going to play it super safe. Now the Ladross picked up. This is not typical of a War Mother's deck. Do not generally see the Ladross Atrocity combo in a deck like this, but I definitely like to see it here. And just the pass from J01 does look like Vulture is going to be picking up game number 2. There's nothing anybody can do about it. The Ladross would be a little bit greedy here. It does open you up to some elusive attacks. But if your opponent was baiting you out in that way, so be it. Just the Jeweled Protector coming down onto nothing, and that's pretty much going to secure that Vulture will be tying up the series 1-1. There is the War Mother's Call still. It will be Tryndamere, and I would assume just an all-out attack here. And this Tryndamere should actually just end the game on his own. Kinku, the Jeweled Protector, yeah, Jeweled Protector has to block Ladross, which means Wayfinder has to go down onto the Tryndamere. Nivea ability puts J01 at 2. Even if the Twin Discipline comes out, that makes it exact lethal, actually, of this Tryndamere onto the face. And the Deny going to come out, which means Atrocity will come out in response. And that will be game number 2, secured by Vulture, thanks to this Atrocity. Gonna let that all resolve, go for it post-combat, which, of course, actually... So with perfect information, it's actually the incorrect play because J01 could Shadow Assassin into Deny. Of course, just wanting to play around the Deny if it is there. We'll throw the Ladross at that, I would assume, just to get the free card back. No kill spells or anything in these elusive decks, so that's going to go off without a hitch, and that's going to be game number 2, going to Vulture, tying up the series 1-1. Group B, Game 3, Heimer Karma versus Elusives, Vulture versus J01. This is the matchup I've been waiting for. Pretty curious to see how the new Karma Heimerdinger decks deal with Elusives. Of course, in the past, it was considered to be Heimerdinger favored thanks to all of the elusive turrets that Heimer could poop out, thanks to things like the Elixir of Brilliance chaining together. But now with the Elixir of Brilliance nerfs, I feel like that hurts specifically the elusive matchup. And we'll have to see how it plays up. Could still be Karma Heimer favored, but it's definitely not something I have seen in quite some time. Excited to see how this gets started. Chempunk Pickpocket, I actually like the keep on that, as it does force your opponent to block with elusive units, unless they open specifically Navori Blade Scout, which you could just Thermo Beam, so Omen Hawk will only get 1 damage onto the Chempunk next turn. And anything that lets me force my opponent to block with elusive units, I like playing, so definitely gonna like that Pickpocket. And of course, J01 could just let it happen, but that seems pretty doubtful. The spells in the elusive deck tend to be pretty valuable, things like Elixir of Iron, Twin Discipline, Deny. I think that might be it. Will of Ionia. Definitely not a lot of spells, but they are pretty high value, and we'll trade the Navori Conspirator for it. Replay this Omen Hawk, the bread and butter play of elusives of old. Now that Inspiring Mentor is gone, rest in peace to him. Shadow Assassin going to come out, and the Solitary Monk going to come down. Solitary Monk on 3 really helps the Karma Heim deck compete against the elusives, especially since all of the nerfs to the elusives, notably Navori Conspirator only having 2 attack instead of 3, as well as the removal of Inspiring Mentor from the deck, really specifically helps out this Karma Heim deck a lot. Looks like Jeweled Protector was the other thing buffed up by the Omen Hawk. The first one, at least. I think this Blade Scout was buffed up by the second Omen Hawk, and Duo missed the cutoff. But the Jeweled Protector going to buff up the Duo. And this 5-5 is actually looking rather threatening. Vulture could get down the Heimerdinger here, though, for free. There's really no removal in the elusive decks, which is another thing that really plays into the Heimer's favor. If you can find Heimer on 5 and play him on 5, there's really nothing your opponent has outside of specifically Will of Ionia, which, while it's an okay tempo answer to Heim, doesn't stop him permanently. And with all these 3-cost burst speed spells in hand, you feel like Vulture's got to be a heavy favorite here in game number 3 to take this match and advance on to the finals. Here of, as previously mentioned, the Freecs Cup number 2, hosted by AfreecaTV. Now this attack from the Jeweled Protector is probably going to get through, and it's almost certainly going to be the last damage that Vulture gets through in this game. If he goes for an all-out attack, even a Heimer block onto the Omen Hawk doesn't change much thanks to the double Twin Discipline in Vulture's hand and a Progress Day picked up off the Elixir of Brilliance. What else could you ask for in this situation? Vulture really just has all the gas in the world, and Heimer is an SUV ready to chug it all at lightning speed. Hatchling could be the difference maker in this matchup, but with so many 3-mana spells in Vulture's hand, you have to assume the elusive board is going to be too wide, not going to be afraid of anything. And Vulture, the elusive master here in this game, going to have more elusives than J01 actually, who is now going to be on the back foot. Thermo Beam for 3 mana onto the Shadow Assassin, going to create another turret, and that's 10 damage coming through just from elusives on the side of Vulture next turn. Could actually go for lethal. Nope, the Twin Discipline going to come out to protect that. That makes sense. 10 elusive damage on an open attack is just a way too much to deal with, and could actually just end the game with a Twin Discipline into the Get Excited. Or double Twin Discipline, rather. Double Twin Discipline would actually end the game in the face of the double deny. Quick block from the Shadow Assassin. Mystic Shot could come down. I don't think it's super likely. Twin Discipline I like a little bit more since it does get the elusive turret. Will be the Twin Discipline protecting that one, getting another elusive turret, meaning Heimer is just one more turret off of an upgrade, but I'm hard-pressed to imagine J01 coming back in this game. Vulture just in complete control, so many more elusives, so many more cards, life total advantage, just everything. So, I guess that answers my question of how the matchup goes. Looks like Karma Heimer is still completely in control of the elusive matchup, even that Green Glade duo not going to do anything really. Deny mana still on the table, but that's definitely not going to come down. Could be this Conspirator. Looks like J01, considering playing the Blade Scout, it will lose the elusiveness going into the next turn, but that doesn't matter as the only non-elusive blocker is the Heimerdinger. Instead, will be the Conspirator back onto the Omen Hawk. This is a stat game for sure. J01 needs to win, but unfortunately, we'll just not be able to do it. We are going into the Hatchling turn, but this is not a big enough board for that to matter. And no deny mana left does mean a Get Excited could come down here onto something like this. Navori Conspirator specifically is really the only one I would like to see it on. Instead, we are going to see the Hatchling straight away, which means it would need to be a burst spell out of Vulture in order to be able to get the turret down. But with a tapped out J01, I don't hate something like buffing the attack of one of the 3-1 turrets to be able to trade onto the Green Glade duo. You're relatively fine to eat at least 2 attacks, so as long as you can trade off enough elusives, you're going to feel pretty good about this. So, personally, what I would like to see here... Karma coming down first. Yeah, that's fine. The only things that I really want to see this turn are the Mystic Shot and the Twin Discipline, so I'm definitely fine with the Karma play. And your board, of course, is getting cleared out of these turrets, so you're not particularly worried about the board space at this point. Gonna line up the first block 3-1 onto the Hatchling, makes sense. 3-1 onto the Omen Hawk also makes sense. Throwing that one under the 7-7. Alright, Vulture playing cautiously with his life total. Not wanting to take too much damage. Would still like to see the Twin Discipline buff to take out one of these units. For example, I'd rather see the 3-1 go onto the turret blocking the Navori Blade Scout. I would rather see block the Navori Conspirator, and then Twin Discipline to buff up the attack, Mystic Shot onto the Green Glade Duo, take out all of your opponent's elusive units. Instead, going to be buffing up to save the Karma. Perhaps could just be going for the Mystic Shot, get excited on the Enlightened turn. Vulture really has the opportunity to, pardon my pun here, but play with his food, as Vultures tend to do. Has complete control of the game, can really win it in any way that he wants. Hard-pressed to imagine J01 coming back from this. And there will be the Heimer upgrade, meaning these elusive turrets are going to be even stronger from here on out. Mystic Shot almost certainly going to come down onto this Green Glade Duo to finish it off before the Deny Mana can get back onto it. And that will be the case. The 3-2 Tough Turret coming down. And let's see what special card Karma has in store for us at the end of the turn. And it's going to be Hextech Transmogulator. Not the most useful card in the given scenario, as it cannot turn followers into champions or vice versa. The 6-mana turret, not going to get a lot. Basically, this card is just run into a deny. At Progress Day, definitely don't hate that one. Getting the T-Hex down, something that demands a block. Ooh, and another Get Excited picked up, as well as another Heimerdinger. The Will of Ionia. Yeah, this one just swinging more and more heavily into Vulture's favor. The Tough Turret attack is not my favorite, but it will just get traded out onto this 4-1. Does soften it up for the next turn, though. Does let you remove it with the Mystic Shot. So, getting value out of the Tough Turret where you otherwise wouldn't. It kind of makes sense that J01 has to line up the Jeweled Protector onto the 9-9, wanting to preserve as many elusive units as possible. Green Glade Duo. Things all of a sudden looking pretty okay for J01, actually. There's a lot of removal on the side of Vulture, but there are still 2 denies in J01's hand. Vulture only at 9 life. The Kinku Wayfinder comes down. That could actually spell the end of J01, as it would only give them 1 deny. Does still have an Elixir of Iron, but 9 mana and some reduced costs on a Will of Ionia and a Get Excited. Does mean Vulture could poop out just 1 shy of double Get Excited, Will of Ionia, Mystic Shot, but double Get Excited Ionia, or Will of Ionia rather, still on the table. Or even double Get Excited Deny. And with 1 elusive blocker, that could be all it takes. Meanwhile, the Kinku Wayfinder actually missing. Does mean this Green Glade Duo will have even less attack than anticipated. So Vulture can take 2 attacks. It's a little bit risky at that point, as Twin Discipline is something that could come out. That would take your opponent off of Deny Mana, though, so you actually don't have to play around too much. Yeah, just going to pass the turn. That one makes sense. Doesn't need to start firing off the removal until we're in combat. And if J01 played anything else this turn, would just free up Vulture to throw out his spells, as Deny Mana would likely be off the table at that point. Alright, so we're going to see a full attack from all of the elusive units from J01. Now, Vulture going to line up at least the 1 blocker, and then does have 3 removal spells, as previously mentioned. Deny and Elixir can get around 2 of them, but it's going to take 3 attacks to end the game. And that will also give Vulture a lot of elusive turrets to play with. If he goes for the Get Excited and the Will of Ionia. Instead, going to go for the 2-mana Get Excited, discarding the Hextech Transmogulator. Nope, hanging on to that one, actually. We're going to discard the 4-mana Will of Ionia. And now the Elixir onto the 4-2, the Deny onto the Get Excited, or the other way around. Doesn't make a whole lot of a difference, honestly. You're either winning the game this turn, or you're not, in which case you certainly lose to this T-Hex and Karma. The Karma Enlightenment will almost certainly end the game, as it makes the spells pretty much undeniable from this point forward, as well as there's a lot of burn your opponent can throw at your face. Looks like we'll just be the deny onto the deny. Would push through 6 damage at Vulture, but 6 isn't 9. And it does have to be a kill from J01 this turn if they want to have a chance of winning this game. Deny does also get the most turrets. Will just be the Will of Ionia onto the Greenglade duo instead. It does save 3 spell mana for Vulture, as well as give him an elusive turret. That is going to be the only turret he's getting, though, is the Mystic Shot and the Get Excited Fizzle. Granted, the tough turrets weren't particularly useful for this endeavor. Will be the Karma now giving the final spell, and it's going to be the one that creates 2 Scrap Scuttlers. Unfortunately, blanking on the name of that card. It's the 2-mana Jury Rig, essentially. Karma going to upgrade now. Going to double up the Get Excited, which doubles up the turrets. A Battle Rage was on top of J01's deck. Playing the big tech, okay. That's what it was. A little curious if that means he cut down on Omen Hawks or Elixir of Irons, or if he just jammed in the 7th Freljord card. If that's the case, you gotta hate that decision. We'll likely see him never run that again if he loses his top 4 match here to the Kinku Wayfinder whiffing, thanks to that 7th Freljord card. Will now be the attacks coming out. Heimer getting through, pushing J01 down to 7, but with no units left outside of that Greenglade duo. The Battle Rage actually could. Because Vulture decided to slow roll this one, that Battle Rage... No, there's elusive blockers, never mind. There are no elusive blockers. And he'll have Battle Rage deny mana next turn to stop the Transmogrifier. I'm hard-pressed to actually imagine a scenario where Vulture doesn't overcome this Battle Rage deny, but... Solitary Monk is one of them. That's a little... Definitely not sure how I felt about that. I think I would have preferred just the double Get Excited, even at face, just to create the 2 elusive turrets. Instead, now going to have no turret generation. Vulture making this one interesting for themselves. I still don't see a way out of this for J01, though, as there is still an elusive blocker to line up onto the elusive attacker. Vulture gonna get down the Kenpunk Pickpocket to get things started. And then it will be the end of the turn without the replay on the Heimer or the T-Hex. Will be open attacks from Vulture. I believe the double Get Excited on face will end the game here. Especially with that block. So yeah, Will of Ionia gonna get denied. Cannot deny that. So it will be the Battle Rage onto the 2-1, which doesn't make a difference as the attacks from the 2 units does end the game. And that's going to be Vulture picking it up and advancing to the finals.